welcome you on the show 360 Sport on Trust TV. Adeni Aji Shafe. Also, they are going to United doing their business in Nigeria National League. That's our own fantastic football artistry there, and really we need to celebrate them. Even though I still don't understand how it is that our own the highlights always carry slow motion in this era. Well, something must be done concerning that. Concerning the media officers of the various clubs across Nigeria should take note of how they need to pull that one out from it. Well, starting from a good note, because in 2030, Nigerian government, or maybe Nigeria Olympic Committee, right now are trying to see how they can go on for the hosting bid for 2030 Commonwealth Games. Nigeria set to bid for hosting right, and looking at the hosting right, to get the hosting right rather, they've been able to put up some benefits that hosting the Commonwealth Games will bring to Nigeria, and we just have to look at that right now, looking at those benefits there. For the fact that the NOC deemed it fit to come up with the bid, they want to see if the federal government will back them up. Now, the benefit of hosting 2030 Commonwealth Games, a bid process will enhance an investment in sport infrastructure, as bidding for the games can catalyze investment in sport infrastructure and facilities across Nigeria, particularly in Abuja, which can revitalize the local sports economy and improve national sport facility for future generations. Hosting the games will initiate the construction and upgrading of sport venues, transportation systems and accommodations, creating lasting benefits for the sport community and the general population. This can significantly boost tourism by attracting visitors from around the world. Influx will undoubtedly support local businesses, create jobs, and boost the hospitality sector. The preparation and execution phases of the games will generate numerous jobs, from event management to construction, fostering local enterprise and skill development, and also to inspire a new generation of athletes by providing them with the motivation and support to pursue excellence in sport. It will also position Nigeria as a country that values athletic achievement and also foster and develop their talent. It will serve as a compelling force for national unity by fostering peace and facilitating Nigeria's cultural diversity. And we know that sport always unites Nigeria anytime, any moment. And that's why NOC, Nigeria Olympic Committee, deemed it fit to come up with that bid process. Hopefully, if this goes right with the backing of the federal government, they will actually be able to do this, and it will be the first time an African nation will be hosting this event. Well, right now, I have two Peters in the studio, although one is Peter, one is Peters. The usual suspect is here, even though today is wearing two colors of clubs, we're both in England, Chelsea, and also Arsenal. I still don't know who he's supporting. Olawale is here. Good to have you.
What a way to introduce me. Thank you, Adeni. It's my pleasure being here. Okay. And thanks for inviting another Arsenal supporter of yours to come and counter me in the studio.
Okay, that, at least I don't want to say we are ready for you. He is ready for you.
No, use the collective now. Both of you are ready.
He is ready for you. So Joseph Peter is here. Joseph Peter, good to have you back.
It's always nice to be here, especially in person, not on Zoom this time around.
Okay, and also at least he has been your, maybe let me say, arch rival every time you are not around. But now that you are around, it's been nice to have two of you facing each other.
But you can speak of rival when both of you are going pari passu. How can you compare Arsenal to be rivaling Chelsea? I think the Chelsea supporters outside there, they will see it as an insult for a club that is yet to taste European glory, for you to be comparing them as a rival to a club that have won everything. And FIFA, in recognizing that, they also invited them to play at the World Club Cup, which will be coming up in June this year. Honestly, on behalf of the Chelsea supporter out there, they will not be happy with you for you to be calling Arsenal fan. That the last time they even tasted Premier League, probably my brother was in primary school there. That was about 20 years ago or so. So I think you shouldn't call them rival. You said they are junior brother from London club. I think that would be much better.
I wouldn't use junior brother because that was the time they were invincible. Where was Chelsea then?
I get
Let's not take this one for long. Okay, agreed. Right now, we're talking about sporty moment, and right, we start with that NOC story that has to do with 2030 bidding from Nigeria. NOC are trying to see how we can at least bid for it, although they need the backing of the federal government before that bid. We see the light of the day right now. Well, starting from Joseph Peter, although it's going to be a short one because we have the biggest one coming up. It's Champions League night, and it's going to be a big battle between those four teams playing today. Before we go to Champions League, we need to always promote our own sport. Let's start from home. After all, charity actually, they say, begins at home. So 2030 bid. Okay, let me start from Joseph Peter. Joseph Peter, I'm sure this is good, it's a good sign that maybe an African country will be able to get this time around.
I'm very, very much happy with this, development. The reason why I am is not particularly because it's an African country that is, going for it. I'm happy about it because this is a major step taken by the LOC and whoever is involved, to develop sports in this country. Because you would agree with me that if this were to happen, then there would be, boosts in even employments, and, the infrastructures would be developed, and, the ones that are even, going down will be revitalized. And a lot of new things would happen in the country, which will do the sporting aspect, not just, athletics and what have you. Good. It will do a whole lot of good to the whole entity sport in this country. So that's why I'm very happy.
Okay, happy mood there coming from Joseph Peter. Let's take the other Peters this time around. Lale Peter is here. Let's have your own view concerning that story.
Nadine, I agree with my brother here, and it's a very good development. But I have a contrary view. And what do I mean? Is this really the priority of the country right now? And what do I mean? That is this the priority? And if you look at I went through the benefits, but also it didn't tell us the cost implication. And the upcoming event, which is coming up next year in Scotland, is supposedly supposed to be hosted by Australia in Victoria City. However, because of the cost of hosting the event, they came out and they said they don't have the amount of money. What they budgeted before was $2.5 billion to host 11 days event. However, after more evaluation in 2023, they discovered that they're going to spend up to $5 to $6 billion to host that event. And they came out and said, no, I don't have the money. So that is when Scotland, who has hosted it 3 times before now, came in and said, we have the infrastructure. Now, here's my question. You're talking about 2030. If as at 2023, it will cost between $5 to $6 billion to put in infrastructure in Australia with the way they are developed. Talk less of Nigeria, our country, that we know in terms of the infrastructure, what we have on ground. And this is not a competition that will be hosted in 2, 3, 4 multiple cities. It will only be hosted in one city for 11 good days. And where is the best place that can be hosted? Probably Abuja. So what infrastructure do we have in Abuja? How much money do you think we are going to need, we're going to spend to host that event? Then what is our maintenance culture? First tax 79, we know what happened. 77. First tax 1977, we know what happened. What has happened to it? Nigeria and the Games Village, the one that we hosted here, what happened to those houses? What happened to those infrastructure that we built? So to be honest with you, as much as I like it as a very good dream, it's a good dream, but let's face the reality. Is that the priority for now? If you look at the money that will be invested in the 11 days tournament, we'll have used that money to develop our football from the grassroots, our sporting activities, amenities, infrastructure from the grassroots, state by state, region by region, and make us to be ready for something good in the future. So as far as I'm concerned, I think, yes, it's good to dream big, but the reality on ground now, are we ready for it? Do we have the money? Is a question that we should ask ourselves, and we should be sincere when answering the question. Yes, no African country has ever hosted it before. In fact, if you go down the memory and the history lane, in 1930, it was supposed to be hosted by South Africa, but because of the apartheid issue, then they protested that no, we cannot host it based on the hostility they are getting from the British. That was why in 1934 the game was moved to England and they hosted it. So yes, we want to break the record but are we ready? Do we have the infrastructure? Do we need to spend such huge amount of money right now? My answer is capital no.
Can I chip something in? My own question now is, based on what you said, my own question now is, can we guarantee ourselves that this country will not in one way or the other waste what is double of that amount between now and 2030, even if they don't host this particular event? That's another question, because you are looking at the financing the project, like the whole competition itself. Yeah, it's true that it's a lot of money and it will cost a lot of money. And you are saying this because of the kind of system that we have on ground already. Now, are we going to, because of that system, pull back and say, okay, we are not going to try to do better? Would that be the right approach? Because for me, if you ask me, I would say that that same amount of money, or maybe even more, would be wasted by this subsequent and this present and future administration, instead of even putting it to this particular competition. So for me, I'd prefer if that they spend the money like that, even though it's a lot on the sport, then I can at least point to something and say these people were able to achieve so project. Other than that, I don't agree that because of the money we should back out. Because if we back out, at the end, they might end up wasting the money, that same amount of money, or maybe even more, on something that is not even relevant and that will not help the sporting activity in this country.
Okay, because of, I know the time is not a lot, our friend. We have a lot to talk about. If I should leave the two Peters, I will leave here today. Anyway, or maybe one way or the other, let me try and substitute the whole thing down. No matter how hard it is, at least we know that monkeys and snakes swallow money across Nigeria. We can at least get some money from all these guys.
Exactly.
Anyway, not to make their point irrelevant, relive the spoken word, both sides. Right now, the bidding for 2030 Commonwealth Games, well, is something that NOC are looking at and hoping that the federal government will also see into that light and see how we can get the nod to host in 2030. Let's wait and see what will be happening. It's still how many years? In the next 5 years. But although according to NOC, they've put together everything it takes to meet up the deadline of submitting hosting bid for that competition. From there, let's talk about Nigerian National League, NNL. I'll just take the result and also the table, then we'll go to the big one for this day. Quickly, NNL Mahmuda bags brace as FC Basira beats Kada Warriors 3-1 in Lafia, a game that was played yesterday in Lafia in the Nigerian National League, where the teams actually fight for honors there. FC Basira played their trade in Lafia and they defeated visiting team Kada Warriors 3-1 in the encounter. Though before the game, we have the table and the result and the table of Group A, B, C, and D. A quick one there before the match was actually played. And right now, if you look at the way it is right now, before Basira played their game, we have all the results there beside it. And for Group A, Warri Wolves are actually leading in this group. They have 23 points from 11 matches. Smart City are second. We have Crown FC of Gomodo, Beyond Limits Football Academy from Ogun State. And you look at Group B, we have Kun Khalifa, Osun United, Solution FC, and Sporting Lagos. And if you look at the number of goals scored, 6 goals were scored. Away win 2, draw 2. You have lost 2 there. Home win, that was none. In Group A, you have goals that were scored with 10. Away win none. Home win 4. Draws 1. Loss 4. Looking at the result there in Group A and B. Summary statistics of the group there. Group A and B there for what they have done in their own group. Match day 11 in Group A and B. Now let's take a look at Conference C and D. Wiki Tourists of Bauchi are topping here, followed by Gombe United. And you have Mighty Jet of Jos, 14, 12, and 11. Number of goals scored 7. Away win none. Home win 2. Draw 1. And you have 2 loss there. And you have in Group Conference D, rather, you have Doma United actually standing top here before Basira played. Basira won yesterday. They also have 13 points right now. They should be standing second there because of goal difference. Although they have 5 goals now, although one was actually pulled against them. So it's between Doma United and Basira for the top of the table there in Group D. Yobedesa Stars have been put down to top position, having 11 points. Kebbi United, Sporting Supreme, taking a look at match day 7 for Group D, that's Conference D, and Conference C, also match day 7, that's also played across Nigeria. Basira FC, they won their game 3-1, and that has given them an edge to join Doma United with the same amount of points, and it's getting much more interesting. Well, always try to promote our own, and we'll talk about this. If you look at the way it is right now, Group A, B, C, and D, you want to give kudos to all the teams participating in this very important league.
And they are the likely ones to lead the tables, all of them. if you look at the teams, you would expect them to be at the top anyway, and they are not, shying away from what is expected of them, and they are keeping it up. It's interesting to see that group of Doma United, and I think I saw Mighty Jets in that same group.
Yes.
You remember Mighty Jets from back then, how they used to be one of the giants of the Premier League itself, not even the NL. So it's nice to see that this competition is going on, and the only worry I have now when I look at the tables and the previous fixtures is the fact that there were not enough away wins. That worries me because it makes me feel like
home must win mentality.
Home must win mentality, and that is what we do not need in our leagues. Thank God for NPFL, that is far a story now. Because a lot of teams go away and they win. But in the NNL, that also has to be the order of the day. Not just the NNL, even in the Nationwide League, this has to be, be assured that any team can go anywhere and win matches. Why? Because of good officiating and lack of, and instead of lack of provision of proper security. That way, you go to any away pitch and you win games. So that would help a lot.
Okay, looking at that particular player that wanted to hit the ball, I saw Lally Peters. It was a very funny moment. FC Basira there versus Kada Warriors. They won that game 3-1, and we just have to look at NNL.
Yeah, I think it's a very good development, and more importantly, as far as I'm concerned, and the league, the table is still open to anybody. If you look at between the first position and the third position, it's just 3 points. 3 points means one game, so that means anything can happen between Basira, Wiki Toris, Gombe, or what have you. So, and that is what we want to see. We want to see the game to be very competitive. We don't want a situation whereby you still have about 3, 4, 5 matches to go, and you'll have already known who the winner is. Things are really changing. However, and I still have my worry also, like I've already said, there should be age cap for most of these our lower league division, because they are the future of the Super Eagles. They are the future of our football. If you look at most of the players playing here now, I don't want to guess what their age would look like. I'm looking at a situation whereby the NFL will come with a policy that says that, okay, because this particular competition, they're the one that will get promoted to the NPFL. Then from there we'll start picking from the Super Eagles. So let's just assume that, okay, you want to put age cap of you shouldn't be above 20 years old. And this is a league that is very, very tough. You can be here for 4, 5, 6 seasons before you get promoted. Once you get promoted, if you didn't even stand very well also, you go back to where you're coming from. So it's a way for us to be grooming our players locally, not to have someone like your age now, to play in the NNL after 1 or 2 years again, we just have injury.
So why are you bringing my age to this? What has this match got to do with me?
It's just hypothetically saying that most of them
should have done the hypothesis with him, not me. I'm in charge here.
Oh, okay. Apologies.
I'm in charge.
Apologies.
You can throw it. Yes, I will even love it. Since you are wearing multicolor and he's sharing part of your color, so you can throw that jab to
actually, looking at him, his age mates are not playing. It is your own age mates that are playing.
Wow.
So that's why I said it's better for us to have younger people like him to be playing because of the development and the future of our football. Not because I just want to throw the jab.
But I'm not a footballer, so throw it at him.
Okay, noted.
Anyway, trying to make some banter in the show concerning the show right now. 360 Sport, looking at Nigeria nationally, the second tier of league football in Nigeria. And it's getting interesting right now. And from there, we move, as we say, we move straight to Leicester versus Newcastle. It's a big one yesterday because Newcastle really did well. They won that encounter, dominating Leicester City. What happened to that team? Well, right now, Newcastle are really happy. Murphy scoring a brace there, and Barnes making another one in the 34th minute. Right, that's actually giving Newcastle the chance to move up for where they were standing. Well, right now, they are 5th. And really, they're trying to see how they can hold on to it. After all, the coefficient is favoring England because they have much more highest coefficient compared to other leagues in Europe. So that will give them a chance. They could have 5 teams this season, or rather next season, in UEFA Champions League. So right now, Liverpool already we know, Arsenal we know, Nottingham, Chelsea, yes, they are back to number 4. And Newcastle, they have the same point. So there is still every chance that both Chelsea and Newcastle will make it to Champions League. Briefly.
Well, it's more likely that Man City also can still make it to Champions League. There's likelihood that also Aston Villa, they can make it to the Champions League, because if you look at them currently right now, they are 7th on the log table, they're having 51 points. And if you look at Chelsea, 53 points, they are 4th currently. So the point difference is just 2 points. And they played only 31 matches. They still have 7 more matches to play. So anything can still happen. So the spot for Champions League will be very, very competitive between 2nd to most likely 5th this season. So it depends on who blink first. We saw what happens to Liverpool. They've not been very consistent, and we know that they will have their own new team that will come in and compete with the so-called big boys every season.
Well, really, Olalis will actually make some point there. From you, Peter, at least you just saw that highlight there, and a game that Leicester, a lot of people would think maybe Leicester would dent Newcastle, but they could not even hold their own 3-0.
I have to say that Leicester City made it even very simple for Newcastle yesterday, because Newcastle didn't have to go into the first gear. They were in the second gear. If you look at the game, they were in the second gear. They didn't even get to the first gear to win, the match. Like, they didn't break a sweat to win the game. It's more or less like Mr. Peter said, it's down from the second. I don't believe it's the second. I believe Arsenal nobody's going to dethrone Arsenal from that second position anymore. But looking at the table, you would say from Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Newcastle, and Man City, there would be a very, very stiff battle there, including even Aston Villa. There will be a very, very tough battle there for the top 5 this time around. No more top 4. It's top 5 for England right now. And for me, if you ask me who would fall out of that particular position, I would say it's Newcastle. The reason why I'm saying it's them is because they have the tougher fixtures than the rest of the team. But another advantage they have is they have more home games. In their next games, that they are forthcoming games. So yeah, for me, I feel like, I believe Newcastle may not, be able to pull it till the end, because it won't be easy for them against Aston Villa. I'm sure they have Aston Villa. I don't know if they've played Arsenal both legs, but I'm sure of Aston Villa and other teams like Brighton. I believe they have Brighton also. But if you look at it very clearly, you would see, very, very carefully, you would see that Manchester City are the ones that have the easiest fixtures ahead. So yeah, I kind of trust Guardiola, even though he has fallen off the cliff, to pull it and take his team to the Champions League.
Okay, well, at least that should be able to take us away to the big one happening tonight in the UEFA Champions League. Everyone is actually waiting. What's going to be happening between the 4 clubs that will be fighting for honor in the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals? Well, the day is here. You can't run, you can't hide. Arsenal versus Real Madrid. You're looking at that. UCL, that's UEFA Champions League quarterfinal, 4th leg. Arsenal will go for it against Real Madrid, coming from Mikel Arteta, the manager or coach of Arsenal. This is a big battle happening tonight. And that battle will be happening, taking a look at the fixtures there: Arsenal, Real Madrid, Inter Milan, the team that are leading the pack in the Italian Serie A, against Bayern Munich, will also be happening. But first of all, let's quickly look at we're looking at Arsenal versus Real Madrid as it is right now. We have the head-to-heads, maybe 1 or 2. A big one is happening before the 2 Peters will talk. Let's take a look at it. All competitions: Arsenal, Real Madrid. We met 4 times, draw 2 eyes. Arsenal won, Real Madrid won. And still looking at the head-to-head, and that's been for this all competitions so far. International Champions Cup, 2-2 in 2019. UEFA Champions League, the last time they met 2006, Arsenal actually played goalless at home and they won Real Madrid away. That was in February 2006, where they played those games. Right now, a big one happening there between Arsenal and Real Madrid tonight. Let me do it this way. Let me start from the Arsenal man, so that I don't want to say fake Chelsea man right now. Because this is Real Madrid that is playing. Maybe I should hire you for Real Madrid. Let me hire you. Okay.
He's hired already.
He's hired.
I'm sure
okay.
in his mind he's hired.
He's hired. So let's do it this way. Your Arsenal is hired Real Madrid. So let's balance it. Let's start from Arsenal.
Okay, this game is very, very tough to call. Look at the both teams now. They both have their problems. Real Madrid have problem in their defense, very, very major problem. When it comes to their fullbacks, Mendy is out and the Carvajal is not there. And if you look at their previous game, they've been conceding a lot of a better time for Arsenal to play Real Madrid. The only thing that worries me when it comes to Real Madrid is their attack. And the fact that it got compounded by the loss of Gabriel Jesus, the previous week, out of the season, that would have helped Arsenal a lot if that player is available to play. But the fact that he's not available is a big blow to the Arsenal defense that are going to face a very, very sparkling Real Madrid attack. Is Vinicius Junior in his peak? No, he has dropped a bit, but I believe that even with his own lack of form, he would cause a lot of problem for Julian Timber. Now that will now tell, would the same player, kind of a player in the person of Saka, would Saka cause as much problem as Vinicius and Mbappe and Rodrigo would cause? I don't think so. I know Saka will cause a couple of problems. Martinelli looked like he's getting sharper than before, but I don't think our our front three or our front two, those players that I mentioned, can cause the damage that the other three would do. So I'm not going to call this game there's no way you look at this game and you want to be sure Arsenal is going to win, Real Madrid is going to win. One thing that is sure is that it's going to be a beautiful game of football for everybody to watch. Let's just watch it and enjoy it. Okay, I see a lot of little laughing there. That's the hired Real Madrid fan. 22 million pounds.
Okay, one thing that is sure is Real Madrid is defeating Arsenal.
Seriously?
And then based on his analysis, I don't even think there's need for them to play the match tonight because he has already, he's willing already before the match.
I'm not willing.
See, one thing about football is this. I'll be sincere and be honest with you this time around. It's not about Saka, it's not about Mbappe, it's about a team. It's about a unit. We've seen Arsenal, they've done very well without Saka for almost 2 or 3 months. They've done very well. That is why they are where they are right now, currently on the table. Because we thought with Saka injured and some other key players being injured, probably they will have. You see, one thing about when your star is being injured is you give opportunity to other players that you never believed in. Look at the current PSG. When Mbappe left PSG, we all thought PSG would be done with. But look at the way they play now. They play like a team. They don't play to suit a particular player. That is my own take on this Arsenal issue. I don't want to take it from you that I'm a hired Real Madrid.
Okay.
Real Madrid fan. No. I want to analyze it. And I'll be honest with you. Jokes apart, I say Arsenal springing surprises. Because one thing about the Arsenal boys, I call them boys because they are not yet a man. Okay. One thing about the Arsenal boys is that when you least expected them to do very well, that is when they will surprise you. And in football, 3 things are very important. Number 1, history is on the side of Arsenal. They have the history against Real Madrid.
In fact, let me do something. While we're talking about history, you have this. This was in 2006 when they last met. Yes, 2006. I'm looking at the lineup. Yeah. Look at the names alone. From Henry to Ljungberg, Reis, Gilberto Silva, Fabregas, Leb, Eboe, Touré, Senderos, Flamini, and Lehmann. And then taking a look at Real Madrid, Casillas, Raul Bravo, you have Roberto Carlos, Ramos, Michel Salgado, Gravensen, Zidane, Guti, Beckham, Ronaldo, and Raul Gonzalez. That was 2006.
I watched this game that you're talking about very well. I watched it and I enjoyed it. I was happy that day. And it looks like a repeat. This is almost like a deja vu to me. Because that was how we were worried. There was no Campbell. There was no Kieran, I think, as at that time. The major defender there was no Pires. Or he came in, I think he came in later. There was no, Campbell was our worry. Because he is like the best defender at the back.
Yes.
Now look at the defense. We played Senderos. Because we're playing Campbell and Toure. Now, another player that was not available, I think, was Gael Clichy. Gael Clichy or Gibbs, I think one of them, that's where we played Flamini. They were all played out of position. Nobody gave Arsenal a chance in this game. But Arsenal won that game at the Santiago Bernabeu. The second leg, we played a goalless draw and we defeated Real Madrid. I enjoyed that game. For me, it's like a repeat again.
Before you repeat this, your repeat. Between 2006, when this particular lineup was made, Real Madrid has won 5 Champions League. 5. Now they have 15 in their kitty. 5 out of between 2006 and now. Then since 2006, in fact, Arsenal, they have never been able to get to semi-final.
Arsenal have declined, if you look at it.
I love that decline.
Arsenal declined, but Real Madrid got better. Arsenal there were a lot of reasons why Arsenal declined. The sales, the building of the stadium, the fact that there was no money to buy players. We all know that is not news anymore. But the point I'm making is the fact that Arsenal were not given a chance, but they won Real Madrid. And another thing that you know why he said maybe it looks like I'm not so confident. The reason is you can't talk about Real Madrid in the Champions League without going but. We were here when Real Madrid were defeating we almost thought Dortmund has won the Champions League when they came back and they won the Champions League. We almost thought Man City is out of has removed Real Madrid when at the last minute Real Madrid turned it around. We've seen it happen with Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. We've seen Real Madrid do this. You just can't go, okay, Arsenal will win. But you go, but it's Real Madrid.
That fear will always be there.
Yeah, because if Real Madrid name is mentioned in one sentence concerning the Champions League, you don't have any choice. I mean, you don't have any choice.
So can I continue?
Yes, you can.
Okay, because it's like I gingered him
to talk.
I gave him the confidence. That's why I said Arsenal will always be the junior brothers to Chelsea. Look at what I did now. I just assisted him by giving him the confidence that don't have this defeated mind.
Somehow, Mr. Peters must bring Chelsea into this conversation. We are talking about Madrid and Arsenal, but somehow Chelsea would have to come into this conversation.
Yeah, because that's what I just...
An average Chelsea fan, let me not mention what they call them. I don't want to...
Aguero, right?
I didn't see Aguero.
And you know,
you know the name. You know the name.
I don't know.
I should mention it.
Okay, so
at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the show, you said something, and I wanted to reply, but I said, let me hold my people. Let me say it now. You said a team that has never had European glory. Now, I remind you, 1993, 1-0 to the Arsenal against Parma of Syria. This current Parma. Arsenal won them European Cups, Winners' Cup. Alan Smith is the current pundit in Sky Sport right now. He's one that scored the goal. So is that not European glory?
Oh, so that's your only European glory.
But it is.
Not Champions League. Okay.
Champions League is a name that was just given recently.
I don't want us to
digress
a lot because you know one thing about Arsenal fans, they will never accept that they are not yet up to the level they thought that they are. That's nothing but the truth. Okay. Even the likes of Nottingham Forest, the like of Aston Villa, they have more history when it comes to European glory than the same Arsenal. You call Chelsea Aguero, but to be honest with you,
I didn't say Aguero.
You've never.
I said there is a name they call them, right?
Be scared.
And funny enough, it's not even Aguero that I wanted to say.
Don't be scared.
Should I call the name?
No,
should I call the name?
Don't call the name.
Should I call the name? You already know the name.
You should call the name now. I think this is
why do they call? I can't mention the name because of.
Don't be scared. They won't do anything to you. So for tonight's match, so that I will not digress. So for tonight's match, you see, what normally kills people against Real Madrid is the fear. The fear of Madrid is the perennial winner of Champions League. But if you look at what Atletico Madrid did, by now I expected Arteta to have watched the clip, Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid, and see what he needs to do. What does he need to do? Play Real Madrid without respect. Once you give them that respect, once you give them that name, once you give them that, okay, this is the Real Madrid, this is Madrid that won 15 Champions League, we are yet to win anything, take it or leave it, they will shine from you. And you have to concentrate. The 3C in football must come to play tonight for Arsenal. Communication, confidence, and coordination. They must not lose. One thing about Real Madrid, they are very clinical. If they have chance for 1 minute, they can score 2-3 goals. So you must not give them that opportunity. And don't forget, you are playing the first match at Emirates. We are going to Santiago Bernabeu, where they are like the king of the stuff themselves.
But they've been defeated there.
They've been defeated what year? When? So what I'm saying...
Just last match they played against Valencia, they were defeated at home.
We are talking about Champions League. Don't forget that
but they've lost in Champions League.
There's different spirit in Champions League and La Liga. And there's different spirit when they are playing at the knockout stages also. You'll be surprised the Arsenal you see tonight will be different from the Arsenal you've seen for the last 5 matches in Premier League where they won 2 and they drew 3. The Real Madrid you see tonight will be different from the Real Madrid that lost to Valencia. But I so much believe that Arsenal, they will spring the surprise tonight.
Now, taking it from you, Real Madrid, they will be cautious a bit because some of their star players, Rudiger, what are names now, they have issues at hand that if they are cautioned tonight, it will affect them in second leg. So they have to be very, very careful. Hendrick, Rudiger, Mbappe, a lot of them that are jubilated with their sign. So they are right now under watch. Any caution tonight could get them off the second leg, which they will want to display a lot at the Bernabeu.
What Arsenal needs to do, they need to win this match psychologically. What do I mean? In terms of playing, take it or leave it. We'll discuss about this maybe tomorrow, next tomorrow. You see that the Arsenal team you watch tonight will be different from the Arsenal team that you've been watching
in a good
before.
way or bad?
In a very good way.
Okay.
You know, I'm not sentimental when it comes to analysis.
He's not trying to play my game so that you can be happy.
See, I don't know, when we are trying to throw banter, it's different from when we are trying to say the reality.
Okay.
This is nothing but the reality. Take it or leave it. Arsenal will get to the semi-final or final, they will lose. But this match against Real Madrid,
they will come out smoking.
See a different Arsenal, and psychologically, this is where you need your experienced midfielder to try and do what Materazzi did to Zidane in the FIFA World Cup. Arsenal to try and surprise, and they have all it takes. Statistically, they have it, and issue-wise, they have it. The only thing against them is they are playing with the current champion and the perennial winner, which I believe they can upstage.
But when you started, you said Real Madrid will win.
I said when you are bantering, it's different from when you are being realistic.
Okay, so
I said that, and if you look at all my analysis, has been in support of Arsenal. In fact, I gave my brother the confidence. I gave him.
There you go again.
I gave him the I can do spirit. That is when you remembered when you showed the lineup. If you look at the lineup of Arsenal team in 2006 and Real Madrid team 2006, it's like the Real Madrid have won the match. Because we're talking about the likes of Beckham, the likes of Zidane, Guti. Look at what they have then, and look at what Arsenal had, and with the injury that Arsenal had, but they still surprised. Don't forget, Arsenal is the only team that Real Madrid is yet to defeat in Champions League. Real Madrid have defeated 111 teams in the history of Champions League, but they are yet to defeat Arsenal. So that is something that Arsenal needs to believe in themselves that tonight we can do it.
You know, I agree with him. This time around, we are agreeing on something. When you said.
But watch your back.
I'm going to, of course.
Watch your back.
I'm always watching. When you said Arsenal need to take the game, they need to attack, they need to not respect Madrid. That's what I meant when I said Arsenal should take the game to Madrid. We cannot sit back and allow them play. We just have to go out all and just do the job. Just go and score a lot of goals against Real Madrid because they will score too when it goes down, when the game goes to the second leg. And I would look at the game against Atletico, yes, but I'd rather look more backwards at the game in 2006 against Real Madrid at Santiago. The reason why I wouldn't really look at the Atletico game is after everything that Atletico did, they still lost against Real Madrid all of the time. We don't want to lose against Real Madrid. We've never lost against Real Madrid in a Champions League game, even though the numbers of games are not much. But I believe that today, one thing that is sure for me is we are going to enjoy a nice, a very beautiful game of football, and Arsenal will not lose at the Emirates. I can assure you of that. Arsenal will not lose their game at the Emirates.
Okay, good one there. We have 2 matches coming up today, and let's take a look at the second one, even though our time has been Arsenal and Real Madrid. And right now we look at Bayern, the Bavarian, first of all, the Nerazzurris, Inter Milan, head-to-head. Bayern and Inter, they met 10 times. Bayern won 6. Inter won 3. They drew once, and you still look at still looking at the head-to-head of the 2 teams where they've met UEFA champions in all competitions. Bayern won in 2022 2-0 against Inter, at the Allianz Arena. Inter, they lost at home in 2022, September 7 against Bayern. International champions called Bayern lost against Inter Milan in 2017, 27th of July as at that time. So the battle has been drawn for tonight. Vincent Kompany, the coach of Bayern, versus Inter Milan. What will be happening concerning Inzaghi? Simone is also there as their own coach. Both of them have been wailing about injury list. Let's take a look at the injury list of the two teams from Bayern to Inter. Looking at the injury list, you'll have about 5 of them for Bayern Munich injury list: Manuel Hiroki Ito, Alfonso Davies, Dayo Upamecano, Kingsley Coman, and Yama Musiala, the latest addition to the injury list of Bayern. And if you look at Inter Milan, they also have players who are injured. Ikan Kaloglu, you have Alexandro Bastoni, Federico Di Marco. According to the coach, for Lautaro Martinez, they will have him. He actually played about 70 minutes. So there is hope for Lautaro. But for those three, Kahanogu, Di Marco, and Baltoni, it's very dicey. And now the two coaches have been complaining concerning injury. Although for Bayern coach Kompany, he's saying no, doesn't want to give a damn about injury. Let's go there and do the business. Starting from Peter. Our time is almost up. Peters.
No, okay.
Let me ask you, yes, so that at least people don't know that it's different. Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be an interesting match also.
Okay.
The reason why the focus is more on the Real Madrid and the Arsenal is because of Real Madrid being whom they are. Anybody they are playing with, they'll be focused on them. So for the
Inter Milan
and Bayern, and it's going to be an interesting one to watch also. But it will be more physical game because when an Italian team and a German team, they are playing a lot of physicality. Yes, I agree with Vincent Kompany. I'm never a fan of supporting a team because you are having injury. You have to play that. No. You have a team. That's why you have to register about 22 players, so that when someone is having injury, another one will come in and step in. But tonight, I see another surprise again. I'm going to see surprise. Arsenal defeating Real Madrid. I will see Inter Milan also
could shock Bayern.
Munich. At least a draw from Bayern Munich, because if you look at the time that they've played, yes, 9 times, Bayern Munich won 6 times, but Inter Milan, they won when it mattered most. They knocked them out of the knockout stage twice from the 3 defeats they got from Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich are yet to knock Inter Milan out at the knockout stages. You know, I'm a student of history, I'm a student of statistics, and I'm a student of research. So based on this, I think it will be very difficult for Bayern Munich to really defeat Inter Milan tonight. So I'll give it draw, Inter Milan, Bayern Munich. But Arsenal, with my full chairs, I hope they will not disappoint the way they normally bottle up the Premier League, getting second position all the time. I hope they will not disappoint me, but I'm seriously rooting for them to really win tonight against Real Madrid.
Okay, Inter Bayern. Quickly.
Same thing for me. It's quite easy to call. As far as I'm concerned, if you look at the injury, it's more damning for Bayern Munich than it is for Inter Milan. Inter Milan have replacement. Inter Milan can play a lot of in a different kind of way. They have this ability to adapt to any kind of attack they get, any kind of opposition that they face. They did that against Arsenal. They changed. He dropped Di Marco, dropped Calhanoglu, and played those who would give him the the needed result, and he got it. I've seen him modify his team in a different way. And as far as I'm concerned, for me, Inzaghi is an underrated coach. He's doing a wonderful job with that Inter Milan team, but nobody is noticing it. Nobody is talking about him because he's not a Guardiola. He's not a one of those coaches. So for me, I think it's simple. It's very simple. Inter Milan would get a result at Bayern Munich today.
Okay, there the two actually have spoken well concerning the teams they support. For Olalepeter, I believe Inter will shock Bayern, and also Arsenal should be able to defeat Real. We're hoping that happens. And from Joseph Peter, he also believes that it's a game of 50-50 between Arsenal and Real. For Bayern, Inter, everyone is supporting the Inter. We wait for tonight. Big one happening at those two stadiums. Well, we call them stadia right now. Well, Allianz Arena and Emirates Stadium, that's the place to be for tonight matches. Well, one of that has actually come up on the show 360 Sport with the two Peters. One is Peters, one is Peter. Olali Peter, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Adeni. It's my pleasure being here.
Okay, and Joseph?
Thank you for having me. Mr. Peters, Arsenal have tasted European glory. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this, but
okay, maybe I should throw it open. This is Evander Oli versus 1 point.
The history you spoke about is not in the Guinness Book of Records.
It doesn't have to be. It has happened.
Anyway, that'll be it on the show 360 Sports. I'm Adeni G. Shafe. Sport is always business and fitness. Thanks for watching.